New semester, new year, right around the corner. Babe, we're gonna talk about goals. We're gonna specifically talk about how to set goals when it comes to like entering a new semester of school and how you can set goals to be the most productive while you're in school. So I'm gonna share with you some goal setting techniques that are gonna help you set up your semester to be extremely successful when it comes to your goal achievement. I've done so many videos on goals. I'm getting to the point with my channel that I have like a video on everything, I swear to you. But I wanted to go back to and touch on a like goal setting video that kind of mirrors one that I did quite a few years ago. It was like goal setting achievement for students or something like that. And I share with you a grid that I'm going to share with you in this video. So if you want more tips on that, check out that video. But I'm going to show you specifically how to use that same grid method, but with a new semester. Right? That one I talked about like the whole year. This one we're going to talk about the semester. It's the same. Obviously, you know, years have gone by, so I've picked up a couple different tips, a couple different strategies. But I would suggest watching both videos because it's going to help you out. But the first thing that you want to do, regardless of when, how you set goals, is we want to brainstorm. So I've got a piece of paper here and I've just written like 22 goals, because if you were starting a new semester this year, it'd be finishing Christmas break and heading into 2022. But the first thing is you just need to brainstorm. So I want you to get out a list of paper, a piece of paper, and make a list of all the goals that you want to accomplish this year. So now you've got your list of goals, hopefully, and I just jotted down a couple I could think of if I was in high school today. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take out like a blank piece of paper or maybe the back of this list of goals for you, and I want you to divide it in half. My paper is hamburger way, but if you want, you could do it the other way. It doesn't matter. But schools, so a semester is divided into 2 terms, right? So I'm going to write at the top term 1 and term 2. You can divide it if it makes more sense to you, like in a different way, but I think it's really important that we start to divide and look at this big chunk of time because a semester can feel like forever. So I've divided mine in terms. You could also do like maybe January, February, March, April, right? And because May, well, I guess, so you could do January, February, March, April, May, June, you know, something like that, depending on how long your school year goes. But what we're going to do now with this piece of paper that you've divided in half is we're going to take our list of goals that we have, and we then are going to put them into like one side of our grid. Now, I have a goal on here. I put like a 4.0. You can decide if you want a 4.0, like what does that mean? Does that mean for the whole semester, or does that just mean for the first term? Does that mean by the end of the term, right? So if that was for like the whole semester, I would do like 4.0 on one side and 4.0 on the other. But something like I've got prom written on here. So that would be in like term 2, right? Because that's like typically later in the year. So do you see that we're going to start to sort up our list of goals depending on where they fall in the year? Now, if you've gone crazy and you have like a whole list of all the things you want to accomplish, that's amazing. But I would pick maybe 10 per term that you're really going to focus on, okay? So pause this video, come back when you have got your goals sorted out into their term. Now, you might have run into some questions while you were sorting these out. I hope that as I talk through the pretend goals that I wrote down, it answers your questions. If it doesn't, leave a comment down below, or you can DM me on Instagram to see if I can respond back to you. But okay, so first things first, we already talked about how if your goal kind of extends the whole semester, you can put it on both sides. I've got like prom over here. And the one thing I wanted to share with you at this stage is you're going to look at your list of goals and you're going to have a couple that aren't clearly defined. You're going to have a couple that are results-based instead of behavior-based. And so let's give an example of each. So this one right here, I have a goal, more friends. In my first term, I just want more friends. Okay, if that's you, if you've got a goal similar to that, that's just kind of ambiguous, you're like, well, how much is good grades, right? How much is making more money? How many more friends do I want? I want you to stop now, and this is the time that you're gonna go through and you're gonna clearly define that. So for me, I'd probably write, I wanna make 5 new friends. And then as your coach, if we were on a coaching call, I'd say, okay, making 5 friends, maybe that's gonna be easy, maybe it's gonna be hard, but that doesn't tell us like what we're gonna do. So we would need to start to define a behavior to go with that, because you know what, we could be our nicest, best self and so amazing and do all these things, but maybe still not come out at the end with 5 friends because there just weren't 5 people that clicked with us, right? Because a friendship kind of takes 2 sides. So this goal I would probably change into, I am going to meet 2 new people a week. Or I am going to talk and find out a fact about 3 of my friends, you know, once a week. And so that's really clearly, like it's clearly defined. So if I say, okay, I'm going to talk to a new person every single week, that also gives you like a behavior goal. It doesn't rely on anybody else to hit that goal. Because if you're like, okay, I'm going to go talk to that girl in my math class and, you know, find out her name or find out what she likes. And if she's not there that day, you just go, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to talk to the person next to them, right? Or I'm going to go find out more about this friend that I have. So we can accomplish that goal. And one thing I like about it too is, you know, we start out on Monday, and if we get to Friday and we haven't talked to anybody, well, then we know exactly what we need to do, right, for that week. So start to clearly define your goals. Now, another one I want to talk to you about is my example of prom over here. Okay, I can be my cutest, most wonderful, best, beautiful self and still not get asked to prom, right? If I put like, because prom's right here and then I define it and say, I'll get asked to prom. So a better way to turn this into a behavior-based goal is to say, I'm going to go to prom, and that might look like being asked, which would be my first choice. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to go with my best friends. And if that doesn't happen, then I'll just find a different group that I can tag along with, right? But regardless of what happens out there in the universe, if I get asked or if I break up with my boyfriend, right? That way, you can go to prom regardless of what happens out there. So I want you to take some time, look through your goals and make sure they're clearly defined. And any that are results-based, like I will make the soccer team, we need to turn that into I will try out for the soccer team, right? Because those are 100% reliant on you. Okay, at this point, we're getting a really amazing list of goals, right? That are specific, they're behavior-based, and they're broken into terms, right? Our semester. Now, the next thing that I want you to do, I feel like it's a critical step that most people stop, like they don't do, because most people stop at this level and they say, well, sweet, I got my list of goals. I know what I'm going to do. And I'm here to tell you that this is awesome. We're going to take it up one level. And that is, I want you now to start to calendar in, is what I call it, these goals. And so I have a goal on here that says like, put money towards my car, right? And as you look over your list, you'll know the answers to these questions, but just start to ask yourself, when do I want to do that? When is the due date for that? And some things like prom, it's gonna be like, let's pretend the dance is like April 11th, right? So that one's got a hard, fast due date. Or the tryouts for the team are in October, right? So well, in this example, October doesn't work. They're in March, right? Or they're in April because the year's ending and then you start summer conditioning. But there's a lot of things on here that aren't really deadline driven. Like I put more friends, right? Money towards a car, buying a new phone. Those could really happen at any time. And so this is where we're going to start to calendar them in. And we're going to say, you know what, money towards a car. Well, Christmas is just going to have happened. I know my grandma always gives me a $50 bill. And then my parents, you know, usually give me a $100 bill or whatever. So yeah, I think the best time for me to put money towards my car is going to be like January 1st or like that first week before I spend that money. Or maybe that's actually the best time to buy my new phone. It's going to be right after Christmas. Or maybe like I put on here pottery, right? And you've gone through and you've like done, like you've made this more clear, but if I want to take pottery, that one's gonna happen first day of the semester, right? And so these things like your 4.0, maybe we want to make sure that's good by March. And then our last one over here, that's gonna be by June, because that's the end of the school. AP test, you're gonna have an exact day of like May 12th. But your new phone, maybe you realize, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do that January 1st. Money towards a new car. I'm gonna put that over here, maybe in June when school's ending. And you know what? For me to get money for a car, oh, you know what? I might need a summer job. So summer job, right? So when we start to calendar in our goals, one, we start to actually think about like, okay, if I'm gonna try out for the soccer team next month, I need to be practicing at least once a week. I need to call up my uncle who's a really good soccer player, right? All these things, and we start to get steps, right? Because if I leave this goal list here and just say, okay, I'm gonna get a 4.0, I'm gonna go to prom, I'm gonna do an AP test, and I'm gonna buy a new phone by the end of the year, sweet, okay? I don't feel any urgency behind that. There's like a whole semester in front of that. But if you actually stepped and looked at it and you're like, okay, I have got to, apply for a new job. I've got to earn this much money. I've got to talk to these people and do these things and have a study group for this. It starts to add up, and just, I would encourage you to back up from your date. So if your AP test is May 12th, you'd say, okay, before that, I want to have a study group. And before that, I need to like really focus in the class and pull a good grade, right? So calendaring it out is the step that most people don't take. And I believe that personally for me, it's been one of my most successful steps. And I have a planner. I plan out the month and what I'm going to do. And then I break that into the week. And I say, okay, if I'm going to hit my goal of reading a new book this month, I've got to read 20 pages this week. It's as simple as that, but it's also as difficult as that, because what's easy to do is also easy not to do. Okay, that is my like quick little lesson on how I would suggest that you set goals for this semester. Let me know if you've got questions. Leave them down below in the comments. I usually see them. Sometimes YouTube doesn't like let me know, or they get a little bit buried, so I apologize for that, but you can also DM me on Instagram. I tend to get those notifications more. And then if you feel like you need extra help with high school, don't forget to check out my high school guide. It truly will change your life. Like, it is an amazing digital PDF. It's so cheap, and it will transform your high school experience. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote it and it's great, but because teens, parents keep telling me that. So check that out. It's on my website, abbywinslow.com, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Abby J out.